Hello, Jack Olmsted, Port Townsend Pickleball, and I'm here today with Jarick Rager, Rager, Rager,
Rager.
Rager. That's right, with hard G. And you're coming to us today from Trussville, Alabama. How's the weather in Trussville?
The weather is cold, not cold, but it's a little bit rainy today.
Oh yeah. So how long have you been playing pickleball?
I've been playing for just over 2 years.
Okay. Do you have indoor courts when it rains, or do you play outdoors primarily?
Wow, I'm getting the feedback. Yeah, we do have indoor courts. So we're playing a lot of indoors right now. We get run off during the season because of basketball.
Oh yeah, here in Port Townsend, we have to compete with the basketball from the junior leagues, the
Yeah.
8-year-olds, 12-year-olds. So you have developed a new product. It's a mobile app called Pickleball Stat. How did you come up with the idea of Pickleball Stat?
Well, the way that it came about was really I was wanting to improve my game to figure out uh, this drills and things that I needed to do to become a better player. And so we'd go out and play and videotape, and what I was feeling on the court as we were playing just wasn't translating into how I felt and the things I needed to work on. So I wanted a way to really quantify the shots and which shots I needed to improve on. And so one of the, I guess, drivers for this was after playing in a couple of tournaments. A buddy of mine was talking about how I needed to improve and how I needed to do this, and I was sitting there thinking, wow, I really felt like I played a pretty decent game, and felt like he had committed a lot of errors, and was like, okay, so how do I justify this? So after watching the video, I was calculated the number of forehands and backhands. It was pretty tedious process. And so owning a software company, I was just like, man, I can make this a lot easier by making an app. So I went off to make an app, and that's how it all started, was just me trying to figure out, okay, I see that I had a lot of unforced errors from a backhand side. So how can I actually see that in a video and translate what I was playing on the court into some numbers in the app?
So it's a mobile app. Is it available cross-platform for iPhones and Androids, tablets?
Yes, it will be. Right now, we are testing it out and finishing up the all the QA process of it, but it is written for iPhones and Androids and iPads and tablets. So it'll be cross-platform compatible.
And where will people be able to get it?
You'll be able to get it through iTunes if you're on iOS devices, and through the Google Play Store if you're on Android devices.
And do you have a price point
The
for this
download,
app?
the price point, the download will be free. And so what we're going to do as we demonstrate this, you'll be able to get a few of the games and submit those for free. And then we'll incorporate a subscription model. So you'll pay a monthly fee, a pretty small monthly fee, to be able to submit more and more games every month.
So the first 2 or 3 are free, and then after that, then there's a pay-as-you-go.
Yeah, that's right, Jack.
And when do you expect to release Pickleball Stat?
Getting a lot of feedback, Jack. What was the last question?
When are you expected to release Pickleball Stat?
We will release it within about a week or 2 weeks.
So 1st of March, realistic? March 1st?
Yes. Yeah, that is very realistic.
Okay, so can you show us a demo of how it works?
Yeah, sure can. Let me share my screen.
And what's your experience with racket sports?
All right, Jack, let me know when you can see the screen.
I can see the screen. We can see it just fine.
All right. So what we're looking at here, Jack, is the 2017 Nationals, the men's doubles 5.0. We have Ben Johns and Dave Morgan. So what I'm going to do is show you, that's on the right-hand screen here. On the left-hand side is the actual application. And so what we'll do is set this up. So we have doubles. We're going to win by 2. And we're going to play, for sake of the demo today, we're just going to play to 3 points. But as you can see, you can set this up to play 11, 15, or 21 points. The title is the 2017 Nationals. Nationals men's doubles 5.0. This was in Casa Grande, Arizona. And the date was November the 4th. And then we have Ben serving and Morgan on one team, and Dave and Aspen on the other team. Now I'm going to click create the match. So what we're seeing now, I'll explain the screen to us, is that we have Ben in team A on the left-hand side, Ben and Morgan. And then we have Dave and Aspen on the right-hand side. You'll see the icons here with the balls. So that means that Ben is serving and that Dave is receiving. You'll notice that Ben's buttons, the forehand and the backhand, are the only buttons that are enabled at this point, and everything else is disabled. And so as soon as Ben serves, we'll record that shot, and then these buttons will become enabled. I'm going to adjust the setting here to play at half speed, and then I'm going to play the match and record the shots. So Ben's about to serve. So I record, he hit a forehand, Dave hit a forehand, Morgan hit a forehand, and that ball went out, and so Team B won the point. And so I'll indicate that Team B won the point. And now you'll notice that the score has changed to 0-0-1. Dave is now serving, as indicated by the ball, and Ben will be receiving. And we'll pause for just a second so I can see if you have any questions.
No, it seems pretty straightforward to me.
All right. So I'll continue to play. So Dave hits a forehand. Ben hits with his backhand. Dave hits with a forehand shot. Morgan's going to hit a forehand. Dave's going to hit his backhand. And then you can see that we get kind of lost there. And so I can always just back up. And the list here shows me, okay, I've already recorded the forehand by Dave, the backhand by Ben, forehand by Dave. So I'll just go back to that point. Oop, I went back too far. There's the forehand by Dave, backhand by Ben, forehand by Dave, forehand by Morgan, backhand by Dave. And so that initiated. So Morgan hit another backhand. Dave deflected that backhand. Morgan hits a forehand. Dave hit a forehand. Morgan goes to backhand. Backhand. To backhand. Aspen's backhand. All right, and so on that one, I wanted to show that. So it went back to Morgan's backhand. Mouse is jumping all over. Well, all right, so went to Morgan's backhand, and then Aspen hit a shot, and it actually hit the net cord. And so off of his backhand, he hit it, shot. It went to hit Ben. Ben hit a forehand, but it wasn't an unforced error on Ben. And so by having the net cord there, that's not going to give Ben an unforced error. However, Team B did win. And so now continue. Dave is still serving, and now the score is 1-0-1.
So you've got a section for forced
you have
errors.
buttons down here at the bottom about attackable and net cords and forced errors. And those will come into play here in just a second as well.
Do you have a place for unforced errors?
So now Dave is serving. Forehand. Morgan's forehand. Forehand. So Morgan hit a backhand, and he put a little pace on it, but it really wasn't attackable. So we won't tell him that it was attackable. Aspen hits another backhand. Morgan goes to forehand. Dave goes to the backhand. All right. Now, Ben hit the forehand. Dave's going to hit a forehand here. And this is wanted to show this next shot. Ben's going to hit a forehand, and it goes up. And so Ben's forehand was attackable. So we're going to mark that as attackable. All right. So Ben hit the forehand that's attackable. Dave then hits a backhand on the next shot for a winner. Okay. And so that's going to give Dave credit for a winner, but it also is going to somewhat penalize Ben for hitting an attackable shot.
Where do you indicate that it was a winner?
Hang on a second, Jack. I'm getting a lot of feedback. Go ahead and ask again, Jack.
The winner. Where is the winner button, and where is the unforced error button?
So that's one of the things with the system is that you don't have to know that they hit a winner or an unforced error. The system's going to determine that based on the information that you enter into the shots.
Okay, I guess I don't understand that. So why don't we keep on going?
Okay, I can explain it in a little bit. So we're going to keep going. Forehand. Mouse. Nope. All right, I have to back that up because my mouse is not cooperating right now. Dave hits the forehand. Ben's going to hit a return serve back. Aspen's going to hit the forehand. Morgan's going to hit a forehand. Dave, forehand. All right, so on that one, he hit a backhand, and Dave hit a forehand that was attackable as Morgan hit that shot. And on that, Morgan didn't hit a winner, but he forced an error on Dave. So Dave actually hit the last shot. But Morgan's shot forced Dave's error. So Morgan's going to get credit for a forced error. And Team A wins. And now it goes to 2-0-2.
It seems very intuitive on how you put the data in.
Well, I hope it is. So, the goal is that as you see the screen here on the buttons are placed where your thumbs would really have easy access to the buttons. So, once you hit record a few of these, it's taking me a little bit longer with it being clicking a mouse and trying to watch it. If I'm doing it on the phone, I can go a lot quicker. But the buttons are placed off to the edges. They're fairly large so that you can hit them pretty easily. And then you're just responsible for doing forced errors, net cores, and attackable shots. Morgan hit a forehand there. Hit a forehand. Morgan hit a backhand to Aspen. And so Aspen hit that last shot. That last shot went into the net. And so since the last shot went into the net, the system knows that based on Aspen hitting the last shot and team A winning, they know that was an unforced error. And if team B would have won that shot, that rally, then the system knows that, hey, that was a winning shot. That was a winner for Aspen.
Okay. Sounds pretty smart.
All right, so Ben serves the forehand. Davis is patented forehand with the head down. Forehand. Backhand back to Morgan, and Aspen hits, so they're getting a little bit of a dink rally here, I believe. I didn't see what he did, but all right, I'm gonna have to catch up. So he hit a forehand back. Ben hit a forehand, and Aspen's hitting a backhand again. It's going to backhand Morgan. All right, so he hit a backhand. Ben Aspen's back to the forehand. So yeah, this is a lot easier when I don't have to take my eyes off the video. I can just use my thumbs on the phone. It goes a lot quicker.
So your idea is a person would be, well, I'll let this point play out and then I'll ask a question.
So Aspen hit a forehand. Oh, goodness gracious. So Dave then hit a forehand. Backhand went to Morgan. Morgan hit it into the net, and Team B won. So Morgan, at the end of this, will be credited with a unforced error. Wow, come on, mouse. All right, so two volley exchanges. Morgan hit the forehand back. Aspen hit a backhand. Ben hit a backhand. And then that one went out. So that one would give Ben, would give Ben, and then Aspen hit a backhand. That would give Aspen an unforced error. So you can see Morgan is serving to Dave. The system's keeping track of that. All right, and so Morgan hit a serve to forehand. Dave hit return to serve, and then Morgan hits the forehand here, and I believe this was a winner. Yep, so that was a winner for Morgan because Team A won. So Morgan is credited with a winner there because he hit the last shot. Morgan. All right. Wow, my mouse is just really messing up right now, guys. I'm sorry. Morgan hit, and I don't remember what happened. So I'll just get through. And who won the point? Oh, Dave. This is when Dave hit a backhand winner. Yep. So B.
So
All right,
you're
so now
right.
you can see that since Dave hit the backhand winner, we know that it was a side out, and the system's keeping track again of who's serving and who's receiving. So this will be really beneficial. If you have somebody that's a spectator that can really keep up with this live, it would be really, really nice to keep up with it like that. So Ben hit a forehand, Morgan hit a forehand, Aspen hit a backhand. So Aspen hit that last shot, and it went into the net. So Team A won the rally, so it knows to give Aspen an unforced error. So here's a backhand drop shot that you never see from Dave, and I think it caught Morgan by surprise a little bit, and Morgan hit his shot into the net. Come on. Wow. So backhand for Morgan, and Team B won, and Aspen serving. Ben hits a forehand, Ben hits a backhand. Aspen hits a backhand, Morgan forehand. So I wanted to show that. So on that one, I messed up. So Aspen hit this last forehand, but that last forehand from Aspen was actually a tackle. So I'm going to back that one out and ask me if I want to delete the last shot. We'll mark that as a tackable by Aspen on his forehand. Ben hit a forehand, but he hit it into the net. And so Team B won. So that'd be an unforced error on Ben. And now it's a 4-2 to 2. So that's the end of our game, so to speak. It asks you to do the stats now. And so these are the basic stats that people can get. And you can see, let me try to blow this up a little bit, Jack. And so you can see the number of forehands from Ben and Morgan, the number of backhands, the number of winners, number of errors. So just in these 3 points, you can kind of see the feel of the game and who's doing what. So most of these players are really favoring their forehands. That's their strongest side. And you can see that there's been 12 rallies so far, and the average rally length has been about 9 shots. So if you compare that at the 5-0 level versus some players at the 2-5, 3-5 levels, their shots are only 3 or 4 shots long in a rally.
Do you have stats?
I would say, just send me more detailed stats. I'll bring the stats up that I've already done for the entire game.
Oh, okay.
And then, Jack, do you know a way I can mute the Facebook feed and only have the volume? I'm getting a delay.
The Facebook feed?
Yeah, I'm hearing a delay about like 5 seconds.
Are you talking about the Google Hangout feed?
Yeah.
I can mute my end.
Okay, try to say something. Oh, that's better.
I just muted it. Now I'm back. I can't. I can show you over in the group chat. So I'll mute my mic.
Okay, so showing the shots breakdown now from the entire match, not just those 3 points that we were doing. As we can see in here, the average length, the number of rallies went to 37. The longest rally was 25. And the average rally was just about 8 shots. From the third shot, there was only one winner. We actually saw that when Morgan Evans hit a winner up the middle. There were 4 errors on the third shot. So throughout the match, there were 4 people that hit a third shot error, which precludes them from actually getting into the point and playing. So those are things that those guys will really look at to make sure that they're not making errors on the third shot. If we look at the shots breakdown, then you can see, let's take Ben as an example. He had 56 shots total in the match. Out of those 56, 33 of those were on his forehand side and 23 on his backhand side. You see that pretty consistently across the board with the top players here, that they really use their forehand and favor it. The third shots then, well, which shots do they use? Ben uses his backhand surprisingly more on the third shot than the other players. So I didn't really realize that while I was watching the video. Unforced errors, you compare, so Ben had a high number of unforced errors, but he also had a high number of winners and forced errors. So he was trying to dictate the point as much as possible. The number of serves, everybody served with their forehand. This number here with a tackle is really interesting to me because it shows you allowing the opponent to get into an offensive position, right? So Aspen unfortunately had five attackable shots. 4 of those came from his forehand side. So, what I would do if I were, if these numbers were mine, I would be going back and looking at the video to see what situations I was in that caused me to hit an attackable forehand shot. Did the opponent kick me out wide to my forehand side? Did I hit shots real tight into my body? What exactly was it that caused me to make those attackable shots? And we recorded those net chords. So it happened that Ben hit 1 into a net chord. Aspen actually hit 2 that went into hit a net chord and went over. So any questions at this point, Jack?
Can you talk about the rally momentum graph over on the side?
So the rally momentum graph is really interesting to me. This is recording or demonstrating to everyone the number of rallies that you have won. So you can see here that we started off and Dave and Aspen won the first 2 rallies, actually the first 3 rallies because it starts at 0, it just doesn't plot it. So, and then Morgan and Ben got on a rally streak and were able to win 2 in a row. And it sort of went up and down. But then right here, Dave and Aspen really won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rallies in a row. And that took them out to a 6-2 lead, I believe, at the time. Yeah, so it's 5-2-2. And so they actually got to a 6-2 lead, at which point Ben and Morgan took a timeout. The timeout worked. I mean, it allowed Ben and Morgan to kind of stop the momentum, but then Dave and Aspen got it back, and it kind of went back and forth for the next 3 or 4 rallies. And then Ben and Morgan got on a bit of rally, and they won 3 or 4 in a row and went back and forth, 2 rallies in a row. And then at the very end, Dave and Aspen won 1, 2, 3, 4 points in a row, or 4 rallies in a row. So it's just an indicator of how many rallies in a row that you're winning in the ups and downs and the flow of the game. You hear about the momentum and big mows on your side or not on your side. For me, this was an indicator to really help me out with, as I'm in the game and in the heat of the moment, think about, well, if they get 3 or 4 points in a row, 3 or 4 rallies in a row, what do I need to do to kind of break that momentum from them? And as I look at different games that I've done on myself, I see that, if there's 3 or 4, someone wins 3 or 4 rallies in a row, depending on the different situations, it's a good time to take a timeout.
That's really very interesting to really plot out the game graphically.
Yeah, I felt it was, and that's part of the symbol of the, the logo is kind of this up and down graph, and that's really how, as you're playing the game, you're going to go through these ups and downs in the play, and it's a matter of being able to control that. And so for me, being the way my mind works, being a programmer, everything's zeros and ones. It's on or off, right? And so being able to see this in a graphical fashion, I'm able to kind of better have a sense of these momentum swings.
Interesting. Do you have more data on this page?
There's not more data on this page. The second page of this PDF file.
Oh, I see.
Are all the percentages. So looking at this, I'm going to start from the right-hand side first. So if I look at Ben's shots, he had 56 shots, and of those shots, 58.9% were from his forehand side, 41% were from his backhand side. Well, if you look at Morgan really favors his forehand. He actually steps around his backhand in a lot of situations so that he can hit a forehand. Dave, however, is more evenly, and Aspen is more evenly dispersed. And if you look at Dave, let's look at his winners. 3/4 of his winners came from his backhand side. So he has a really attacking backhand. And you see that in his play. I mean, you can see that during a lot of the rallies where he's just absolutely attacking the ball when it's on his backhand. Aspen since he's so tall, he has a lot of reach where he's able to flip his backhand and roll it from his backhand side. And all of his his one winner came from a backhand shot. And so if we look at these, so that's the player percentages. So that's for me, what were my percentages? Now the team percentages are for our team. So all the shots within our team, Dave took 50% of the shots and Aspen took 49% of the shots. If we look at Morgan and Ben, Morgan took 58% of the shots or 41% of the shots. So Dave and Aspen were really, I don't know if this was, a thought before the game or not, but they were really hitting the ball to Morgan and keeping Ben at bay, so to speak. And if you look at the breakdown of the shots, it was pretty even as to Dave's hitting the forehand. 28% of the team's shots were Dave's forehand. Aspen, 27% of the shots were his forehand versus 22 on the backhands. And so you have the team percentages of how the breakdowns are. So for team A, how are all these breakdowns done? So the force errors, Dave forced 33%. All the errors that were forced, 33% of those were forced from Dave's backhand. Aspen was 1-1, had one from each. And then attackable, you can see that breakdown as well. And then the overall percentages show, okay, based on all 4 players on the court, how many forehands out of all the shots that were taken, Ben took 11.5% of the shots on his forehand side. Dave took 15% of the shots on his forehand side. Morgan, as we stated earlier, primarily uses his forehand, and so his difference is a lot greater than the other players. So it's just it breaks it down in all these, an overall percentage of all 4 players, a team percentage just for that team, and then the players' percentages within, just their shot numbers. And then the last kind of really interesting stat that I'm still working on the formula for is this player efficiency. So the player efficiency, if we look at this, if you just kind of gauged who was the more dominant player, not saying the best player or anything like that, but it's kind of the player that in that game was really more dictating the points, Dave was really controlling things. He was really setting up the shots and looking for the opportunities, and when he got the opportunities, was really putting it away. If we look at his numbers, the unforced errors, he had 5 unforced errors. Dave had 3 unforced errors. It had 4 winners, and he forced an error. So he had 5 kind of shots that won him the point, won his team the point. But he didn't have as many attackable shots. Ben had a lot fewer attackable shots, but he had a higher percentage of unforced errors. And so if we look at these numbers, it kind of, as I'm watching the video, that's kind of how I felt, was that Dave was really the person that was dictating the points, while Ben was trying to get in and control more of the match. But because of the unforced errors, his percentage was going down, while Morgan was kind of the, I guess, more of the rock, more of the, okay, let's just get things back, keep things in play, wait for the opportunities. While Aspen was not doing as much of that, and his percentage was a little bit lower than Ben's. Aspen wasn't attacking the ball as much as Ben was.
I'm just totally amazed. My jaw is down to the desk here. How you're able to take a pickleball activity, a game, and really drill down into the numbers, into the data, and it all makes sense.
Well, thanks, Jack. It took a little while to get the things working right. But once I kind of got into a pattern, it began to really flow. And at the end of it, after you've done this a few times, the data entry is so simple. And then you get these stats like this. And so, if my name were here instead of Aspen's, and these were my numbers, immediately I'm going to start looking at, as I was mentioning earlier, why were my attackable shots so high off the forehand? What is it that I can do to make my these attackable shots? What can I do to drop those shots into the kitchen? Is there one drill that I can do? Is there one, is there something that I can really work on to go after? I'm looking at Dave's and marveled at how he attacks with his backhand so easily. So is there something that I can do to emulate Dave's shot? I look at Morgan and what he does, and he has so many shots where he can just controls the points, and he's dropping shots into the kitchen. What is it that is going through his head at those different points that I can emulate to go through and try to incorporate into my game, to keep the ball in play longer, to wait for those opportunities.
Well, I don't have any questions. I got to let this sink in a little bit, and I'm looking forward to using this app for my own play to see how it works, to see what the numbers show.
Okay.
So your website, is it going to be pickleballstat.com? Is that what we're going to
Yeah, it'll be
for?
pickleballstat.com once it's ready. And like I say, all that'll come up probably within the next week. The website will come up first, and then we'll launch the app. We're going through QA right now because of it being compatible with Android devices and iPad devices, or iOS devices. So we're finishing up the testing on that, and all that'll be ready here in just the next week and a half or so.
So your thinking is that somebody sits in front of they videotape a match, or they have a match on YouTube, and then they sit at their computer with their phone, and then with their phone and their thumbs, they indicate the activity through your app: forehand, backhand, that sort of thing. Is that the process?
It really works best with a recorded match versus live. Live, it's the hands are so quick on those guys, and the ball gets going so fast. It's really difficult to record all of those shots, especially when you go between needing to record attackable and non-attackable shots. But there is another feature on the app that is just. Let me go this back down. Keep score that we haven't finished yet, but we'll be able to do the same exact thing where you're just keeping the score. So player 1 and player 2 would change their names. So Ben. So save that, and so if they win a point, you click on Ben, and you can see the numbers changing 2-0, and you can see the score here 2-0-2. And so if they win the next point, you see it changing 3-0, 3-0-2. Team B wins. Team B wins, and you can see everything changing just like it was on the other. So there will be another feature within the app just to keep the score. So that if you're sitting in the stands and you're not really wanting to record every single shot, but you do want to keep up with the score, there will be a feature in the app that just does that.
Now, will this portion of the app be available for watches, digital watches?
I'm sorry, repeat that, Jack.
Will this portion of the app be available for watches, like the Apple Watch?
It will be in the future. We haven't done anything yet for the watches.
I see. So for phones and tablets, people sitting in the stand, they can keep score.
Right.
Okay. Well, are you working on anything else for pickleball? Any other apps?
I am, but it's way too premature to talk about that yet. But yes, we're working on some different things to make real-time stats available. But it's way early in the game.
Okay. And how long have you been writing code? How long have you been a programmer?
I've been programming since graduating college in '94, so over 20 years.
Uh-huh. And do you work for companies, or are you self-employed and you just, pick up jobs when they come your way? You're a freelancer.
No, I actually own a software development company in Birmingham named Kesis Consulting. Kesis.io is the website address.
And what kind of software, what kind of applications do you specialize in?
Our company works, we do obviously the mobile applications, but for the most part, we do business line applications from the ground up in different industries. So whatever process a business might have, we'll come in and write the software to make that process more efficient. And so we do a lot of integration work. We write primarily in Microsoft technologies, C#, SQL databases, but we do a lot of integration work so that disparate systems that don't talk to each other, like a human resources database or accounting database and something else, they'll talk to each other, and we create the dashboards for managers so that they can have stats available to them at all times.
So your working world is breaking down numbers into stats so that people can understand them.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the impetus behind all of this is that my game when I play in pickleball, it's zeros and ones. I'm moving zeros and ones from an interface to a database and storing it and bringing it back in a report or some interface so that people can understand what's going on. And so this was just a natural leap for me to really understand my game better, and hopefully it will be beneficial to others out there as well.
And have you noticed an improvement in your game at all? Or
I think I have. I don't propose to be any kind of 5-0 player like these guys, but I would think that I approach the game a little bit differently. I go through and really think about what's going on in the heat of the moment. So that I think that's where it really helps me out, is that players really get caught up in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the match. And I think I can fill that out a lot easier now that I can visualize what's happening because of using the app.
Because of using the app, has your appreciation for the game increased at all?
The appreciation of the game, is that what you asked?
Yes, the appreciation of the game.
Yeah, because I look at these players and can see what they're doing. There's the shots that they're selecting are selected for very specific reasons. Dave, he's going through and hitting shots deeper or shorter, putting more pace on the ball, taking pace off of the ball because of what he's seeing across the net. He sees that something's happening across the net, and so he's adjusting his game style and gameplay based on that. It's not all just reactionary. As I go around and play at different in rec play, people are out there just hitting the ball. They don't have a purpose, and it's really eye-opening to me to watch guys like this level, especially where they're not just hitting the ball. They're hitting the ball with a very specific purpose to get a shot, maybe 2 or 3 shots later. Especially watching Morgan. Morgan was doing, he was moving the ball, hitting the ball a dink into the center of the court, hitting it wide, hitting it so that Aspen would have to reach out in front of him to catch it out of the air. He was moving that ball around quite a bit, and understanding why he's doing that is really eye-opening to me.
Okay, well, I don't have any more questions. Is there anything you want to talk about that we haven't covered?
Nothing I really want to talk about, Jack. I mean, I thank you for the opportunity to really show this, and thank you for Stephanie Lane allowing me to do their matches a few nights ago. And then another shout out to Stephen Gritch out of Nashville, who also helped me with some of the stats in here and coming up with things. So really appreciate it. And hopefully everything will be ready here in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, and when things are ready, there will be links in the description below so that you can easily get to the website and stats pages and anything else that's coming out of Pickleball Stats. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Jack.
And I look forward to demoing your product in some of the games that I play.